Hello and welcome to our online video training series with Positrak Pro. In this video, we're going to do an overview of the inventory menu. So starting from the main menu, I'll hit number 3, inventory. The starting point for the screen is usually the top left corner here when you're doing a part search, but you've got some options across the top like add part, modify your line codes, and then there's a list of options down the left side, and we'll get into some of those. So I'll start here and I'll punch in a part number. And if you're using barcode scanning, this works here too. You can just scan the part. So part number and enter. It'll pull that part number and populate all this information over here on the right side, part details, and then below that, the part history. So just starting from the top down, you've got your line code, your part number. You can navigate forward and backwards through the inventory with these navigation buttons here. There's the description for the part. That is the description that displays to the customer on the invoice, any reporting that you're doing. Below that also, though, you have a part note, and the part note is more of an internal note. This displays at point of sale. And you can get reports with that part note on it, but it is an internal note. It does not display to the customer. So if you want to put a note to your counterman about something that they need to know when they're selling that part, you can populate that part note right there. Then we've got our inventory. So on hand, min and max stock levels. Below that, package quantity. So if this comes in if it were a case of oil, you may have a 6 or a 12 or something there. Box of sandpaper, roll of heater hose or fuel line or something like that. You'll see your package quantity populated there. Minimum order quantity is used on POs. If your suggested order quantity is less than your min order quantity, then it'll bump it up to that minimum order quantity. Of course, if it's populated anything other than 0. Code is like a subline or grouping. These are defined from the price updating vendor. However, they subgroup those parts within that line code. So maybe in this case, the water pumps are in one code, the belts in one code, the hoses, the hydraulics, and so on. Those are, again, managed and maintained through the price updating process. The manufacturer classification, this is a popularity code. And by the way, you see that when I hover over these labels, you will see a little pop-up giving you a description of what that field is. But this is a popularity code. Again, that is defined and populated through the price update process from the vendor. Local class, on the other hand, is user-defined that you can use to group parts together for various processing functions. Bin location can be used to locate parts in the store. So when your countermen are billing out a point of sale, you'll see bin location and it'll tell them where to locate that part in the store. Break quantity and divide quantity are used to accommodate variations in the way that vendors provide data to us. So break quantity is used for pricing. If this was a part such as a box of sandpaper, a roll of hose, or something like that, we could use in this case here, this pricing on this part comes in at the full box, but it is sold by the each. And so we need to break that pricing down by the each. And so whatever this number is when it comes in, this is the each price because it divides it by 20. Divide quantity is used when sending purchase orders so that same concept, it divides by that quantity when it sends the order. Your pricing is on the right side. We have a cost field and jobber field. On the other end, of course, is core and list. And in between, there are 3 fixed selling prices that you can use in different ways. Pricing is another topic for another video, but the most simplest way to set it up is you can have 3 different price levels. You can set margins on these levels as the price updates come in from vendors, and then you can assign your customers to one of these 3 levels. Again, there's a lot you can do with pricing. That's just kind of the simplest way to set it up, but we can talk about that in another video. And then on the right, you have average cost, and that is each time a PO comes in and is posted, your cost is averaged. Allow price update. This tells it whether the price update or not when an update comes in from a vendor. And then there's a couple of options regarding tax: never taxable and always taxable. Down in the bottom section, you've got some history: initial stock date, date last sold. We store 13 quarters of history. So there's a current quarter to date, and then 12 quarters for 3 years total of history. Lost sales, last price update, the last time it was actually updated or processed on a price update. And then the second date is if it was the cost actually changed. And of course, last received and who it was received from. There's a few other things on the screen we can look at together. First of all, across the top, I mentioned add part and modify lines, but also you have adjustments. These are any manual adjustments made to parts. So not sales or POs, but this would be like if a manual adjustment was made, inventory was removed or added, it records the date and time, who did it, the quantity. So you can pull that up and you can look at a list of adjustments. I've made some random adjustments today just for the sake of demonstration. So I've taken a lot out of inventory here. It recorded the date and time, who did it, the quantity before, and you can search this by date range, line code, a single part number, and so on. On the left side, there's some other utilities. There's a barcode utility. If you need to add or remove a barcode, you can do that here. If you needed to add one, you would just scan it. It'd populate the barcode there. You hit add, and it'd permanently store that barcode with that part. Most of the time, those are maintained by your price updating. But if you need to manually manage those, you can do that there. Fast edit on hand min and max is a really cool screen that we have here, and this is a quick way to see on the screen all your stocking numbers for a line. So I'll click on that and I'll pick a line code. And so right here on the screen, I can see part number, on hand, min max, whether or not it's an actual stocking number. And then there's my history, quarter date, year 1, 2, 3, last sold. That code, that is the subline. Class is the movement code from the vendor, and so on. And you can edit the highlighted fields here. So I can go down the list and make corrections on my on-hand, min, max. I can also assign a local class here as well if I want to. But one really cool thing to point out here is kind of an analysis thing. You can sort these columns by clicking on them. So if I click year 1 once, that's going to be ascending. If I do it one more time, that's descending. So this is my most popular number here, this A22M. And then you can see it descend from there. One thing that you can look at here is your stock levels against your demand, your sales history. And right off the bat, I see something a little out of whack here. My second best number, I'm only stocking 4 of those. That's my max. The next number, I'm stocking 8. And then I can go down a little bit. I'm seeing 3, back up to 4, down to 3, back up to 4. So generally speaking, your max your stock level should also descend along with the history here. So I can make some corrections and say that's a better number. I need to stock that a little more. Maybe I need to drop that down a little bit. And there may be reasons for these. It could be superseded numbers. You'll know your inventory better than anybody, but you can make these corrections right on the screen. You can hit save, yes, and it'll make those corrections right there all at once, much faster than going one by one back on this screen to make those corrections. Alternates, tags, aliases, and force pricing. Once you have a part number up here, you can go to this option here. This is a place where you can add alternate part numbers. Aliases is something used for ordering. You may not use that much, but the probably the most important thing here is alternates, where you can add an alternative number. Maybe if you have like a primary brand and a secondary brand, you could add an alternate there. Price breaks are also managed here if you wanted to give price breaks on certain parts. And we'll cover this in another video, but you can add different percentage discounts or so on with different quantity breaks. And you can have multiple price breaks per part. There's a few other utilities in here that we normally use if we're helping you maintain parts. If a process changeovers, maybe if your vendor is doing a line change, that's something that we help you with. There's a place to supersede a part here as well. So if you've got an obsolete part being replaced by another, you can do that with this as well. You pull up the old number first, you hit supersede part, and then you type in the new part, and it'll transfer all the sales history for you, the min, the max on hand, and all that stuff. It'll transfer it for you. That's all for this overview of the inventory menu. Be sure to check out the other videos in this playlist for more training. Follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and subscribe on YouTube for more updates.